Well, Brian, John said earlier in his media day remarks that I'm not allowed to ask him about the quarterbacks, so you ask him.
Okay, Coach. Who's your starting quarterback? No.
What a blessing it is to have two veteran quarterbacks, two guys that have started. What a blessing it is to have two guys that are somewhat distinctly different in what they bring to the table. So we're going to have one starting quarterback. That's what we're going to have. We're going to have one guy we name quarterback. The other guy is going to have to be ready, but it's not going to be, flipping a coin. But when your linebacker gets hurt, you put in another linebacker in. When your linebacker messes up on some calls, you put in another linebacker.
Right.
So we still have that opportunity to do, if you allow us to do that.
Do you have a deadline or a timetable as to when you'd like to have this decision made by?
Next Wednesday. Yep. Yeah, we have in our calendar, we have set when we are going to set the depth chart. Guys need to know, am I going to be redshirted or am I going to be playing? We want to do that. We want to put the pressure on ourselves to do that.
This year, another FBS challenge, and I won't beat around the bush. It's going to be a little bit more of a challenge this year than you had last year, heading down to Fort Worth to take on Texas Christian. Where does this one rank, you think, as far as the biggest challenges you guys have faced in your Division I era?
I think the combination of what TCU brings in terms of football, I think it'll be our toughest FBS challenge. Spread offense, a lot more mismatch type stuff. I'm amazed as I study TCU football what Coach Patterson has done, and I'm looking forward to the competition, and I'm looking forward to see our players take the field.
What stands out to you about TCU? I know that their defense going in is really highly ranked in the Big 12.
Well, when you look at overall athletic ability is really, really good. And again, I watched Coach Patterson's press conference, and he picked out some guys. So now as I watch film, there's a name with a number, and you can see why he picked them out. And I seldom do that. I seldom worry about what a guy's name is and what he plays. I just look for really advantages.
What sort of challenges does that present as you try to prepare for an FBS team like that where it's two different quarterbacks, you're not really sure who it could be?
Well, we've watched A&M film on Kenny Hill, and he's not the BOYKIN kid. He's not that type of athlete. And so the challenge would be, I would think they'd expand their passing game. They will still have the run-pass option because that's really the tailback or the receiver getting the ball. But I don't think we'll worry or scheme as much about defending the quarterback on the run. Now, I think he can run, but he's not the guy they lost.
No BOYKIN, right?
But today, right when Brian and I got here, looked like your kickers had a great day. And,
that was fun.
I think they needed that, didn't they?
They had struggled, and off and on, you hit one or two, and then they'd struggle, and that affects the whole football team. Because when we kick, everybody watches, so everybody knows the feedback or the grade. And it was kind of cool. We put some pressure on them with sprints. They made all four, and then we moved it back to the 50 and said double or nothing. And the one said no, and then the team said go for it. He went for it, missed it, then he went again and he made it. So it was fun to see their success under that pressure.
Yeah, it's awesome being on this new field. One of the biggest things is we have turf, so that's pretty cool. Playing around on turf, you feel faster. You don't have to worry about Brookings High School disjointed the night before games. So coming up that, I mean, just looking up to the stands, it's huge.
That as much as fans have said, gee, are we giving up an advantage there? Every single player I've asked has said, I'm glad there's turf.
Yeah, we love turf. I mean, going to a place with turf, we always enjoy playing on it. And I mean, it's an advantage. We're used to the when we had the grass, we were used to the footing and everything. But I mean, one of the biggest advantages is just we're used to the cold weather. A lot of the teams that come aren't used to the cold weather. They don't like to be getting hit in the cold weather.
So it's more the cold than the surface?
I'd say a little bit. I'd say a little bit of both, but probably just as much the cold.
It's a great defensive line. I mean, between yourself and Kellen and Jared and the whole group really last year, really had a great season. I thought was kind of the backbone of the defense. Is it fair to say that as good as you guys were last year, you still feel like you can be better this season?
Oh, yeah. We all feel like we can get a lot better, especially in pass rush. Just getting those moves down, getting good reads, doing all that stuff. We all feel like that we can all improve a lot more, and this fall camp has been a good start. We've gotten a lot better, I feel like, just as a unit. But, yeah.
With the inexperience of cornerback, does that put extra pressure on you guys? Is that something you take note of, or do you just sort of?
No, we kind of we do our thing. We can't really worry about that stuff. I mean, they're going to get the job done. We believe in them, whoever it is, young guys, older guys, whatever. But, yeah, we feel like they'll get the job done. We're just going to do our job.
And I guess in some ways having Zach and Taryn at quarterback, a running quarterback, then more of a pocket passer, that probably works to your advantage a little bit in terms of, preparing for both styles of play.
Oh, yeah, because it is a lot different facing a running quarterback like Taryn. I mean, you have to be really disciplined with your gaps. You can't move or do all that stuff that you can do against a quarterback that doesn't move as well. So, yeah, it definitely has helped out with that.
When you play those FBS games, is it difficult to sort of block out the fact that you're playing a quote-unquote famous program or, a power conference, or that it's a stadium that has 70, 80,000 people, that it's on national television?
I think once the game gets going, you don't really think about
It's
any
more of a
that.
pregame thing almost?
Yeah.
I'd say the night before, we always get to go and
Do your walkthrough?
walk through at the stadium, and then maybe even before the game, you're kind of like jogging around, like, wow, there's a lot of people here. This is a big stadium. But as soon as the first snap goes, it's game time. That's all we're really thinking
And
of.
so do you do anything to prepare for the noise and what you're being, going up against, basically a 12th man almost?
For us, offensive-wise, every other day we work on our silent count, is which we'll use against the when the stadium's loud. And just like going to TCU is going to be loud there. We're UNI on the road, NDSU on the road, which are both really loud stadiums. And last year playing in Montana for the playoff game, that was one of the loudest games I've ever played in. And it took us a couple plays or two to get used to it. We had a couple false starts early, but as the game goes on, you just kind of learn. You just got to focus a little bit more. And